All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving headfirst into AI in 2024.
Yeah, we've got a whole mountain of reports, timelines, you name it.
A real who's who of the AI world, and we're going to sift through it all.
Figure out what really made a difference this past year.
Exactly. Not just the headlines, but like the stuff that matters.
Right, and what it means going forward, too.
Speaking of making a difference, let's kick things off with a number.
Okay, hit me.
NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Their market cap.
Oh, boy, yeah.
$3 trillion.
That's with a T, a big, fat T. And that tells you everything you need to know, where the serious money is going.
It's insane.
Those GPUs, they're the backbone of AI training,
Yeah, engine. Yeah.
And that valuation, that's not hype, that's a statement.
Yeah.
Essential.
Yeah.
That's what they've become to the whole field.
But it wasn't a one-horse race.
Oh, no, not at all.
If you look at the timeline, Meta was on fire, too.
Oh, yeah.
Dropping those Llama models.
Like hotcakes?
Yeah. Almost every other month, it felt like.
That was huge, Llama. Especially because they went open source.
Right.
Really shook things up.
Big time.
Like, now the lines are blurring between the giants.
And the little guys, kind of.
Exactly, the open source community. And that performance gap, shrinking fast.
And then you've got this mysterious figure, Pliny the Prompter.
Oh, right.
Popping up, exposing all these weaknesses.
And some pretty major systems, too.
Makes you think, right? About security.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the flip side, The more powerful these models get.
The more accessible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The stakes just keep rising.
Yeah.
Security, responsible use, that's...
It's not just can we do it anymore.
No. It's should we. That's the question.
It's not just text anymore either.
Right.
It's like
it's way beyond it.
Images, audio, even
3D.
Wow.
Multimodal. That's the word.
Multimodal.
Models that understand but create too.
Yeah.
Across all these data types.
Oh.
AI, writing music, designing stuff, analyzing medical images.
Cheers.
Think bigger. That's the power we're talking about.
Llama 3.2, that's a good example.
Perfect example. And it's not just tech, right? This affects
Like everything.
pretty much from healthcare to art to, well, you name it.
And it's moving fast. From research to the real world.
Fast.
Speaking of real world, what about AlphaFold 3, that protein modeling thing?
Ooh, that's a big one. Huge.
I don't fully get it, though.
So AlphaFold 3, it's some deep mind, and it basically cracked the code.
Code of.
Predicting how proteins fold, like perfectly.
Then why does that matter?
It's the key, right, to understanding diseases, developing drugs.
Well, hold on. So this is
A revolution for medicine, maybe even material science.
Wow. So AI could create treatments just for me based on my genes.
Exactly. It's mind-blowing, the potential.
But all this power, it comes at a cost, right?
Well, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
I'm thinking the energy to run these giant AI models.
That's the elephant in the room, big time.
And it's only getting bigger.
The infrastructure, the energy consumption.
Not very sustainable.
Yeah, it's a problem. Can't ignore it.
So smaller models then.
That's the idea. More efficient?
I know Andrej Karpathy has been talking about this a lot.
Oh, yeah. He's a big proponent.
But what does it actually mean, though, making them smaller?
Imagine a giant cookbook.
Okay.
But you only need one recipe.
Right.
Distillation, it's like pulling out just that one recipe.
So a smaller version, but it still works.
Exactly. Less overhead, less energy.
And our timeline shows these techniques, LoRA and quantization, they're getting popular.
Oh, yeah.
What's the takeaway for, the average person?
It means more powerful AI for more people.
Not just the big labs and companies.
Right. It's democratizing it and making it
sustainable
in the long run. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this amazing tech, mind-blowing potential, but there's the ethical side too, right? But like AI and warfare.
Oh, yeah. Can't shy away from that.
Especially after what we saw in Ukraine.
Autonomous weapons, that's a whole other discussion.
The scary one.
Really makes you think about responsibility.
About consequences.
It's not just about what we can do anymore. It's about what we should.
So, big picture, looking back at 2024, what were the big trends? The things that really shaped AI?
Well, we've been talking about it, but those multimodal models, huge. It's like AI suddenly woke up.
Woke up? How do you mean?
It can see, hear, interact, like on a whole other level.
And that's because of?
Computing power, for sure, those NVIDIA chips.
Yeah.
But also...
clever algorithms.
Yeah, focus on efficiency. Getting more bang for your buck, so to speak.
So we can have the power.
Without the energy bill going through the roof.
Exactly. Yeah. And that means...
more real-world uses. everywhere you look.
Not just in labs anymore.
Nope. Healthcare, finance, even art. AI is everywhere.
Like AlphaFold 3, that was a big deal.
Oh, massive. Remember what we were saying?
Protein folding.
Right. Predicting it perfectly.
It's still kind of mind-blowing, the implications.
Healthcare, disease, new drugs. It's a whole new ballgame.
It really is. Like, we're on the verge of
unlocking some serious secrets. About life itself, maybe.
And it's not just medicine, right? AI's doing.
Weather forecasting, education even.
Helping me pick what to watch on Netflix.
Maybe even that. But seriously, it's impacting us every day, whether we realize it or not. But of course, there's the downside. Can't forget that.
Yeah, that dark side we talked about.
Autonomous weapons, for one. Ethical dilemmas all over the place.
It's a tool, right? Like any tool, it can be used.
For good or bad, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why this whole open source thing is so interesting.
With Meta and Llama.
Right. They just threw the doors open.
Feels risky, honestly.
It is. You're democratizing powerful tech, but
it could be used for bad stuff just as easily.
Exactly. And that's why we need the regulation talk.
Governments are scrambling, it seems like.
They are. Trying to play catch-up to a field that's moving at warp speed.
Remember all those stories about fake news? Deep fakes?
Oh yeah, that was wild.
It's like you can't trust anything anymore.
And AI is just going to make that worse, potentially.
So what do?
We adapt. New ways of thinking, of evaluating information.
Critical thinking, basically.
More important than ever.
So it's not just the tech itself, it's how we use it.
It's how we adapt. As individuals, as a society.
Speaking of individuals, who are the big players this year? In AI, I mean.
Well, you've got the obvious ones, right? NVIDIA, Meta, but then there's people like Jensen Huang.
NVIDIA CEO.
Yeah. He's pushing for global cooperation on AI. Says it's crucial for every country. Then you've got Sam Altman.
OpenAI.
Right. Raising billions, building bigger models, specialized chips. It's like an arms race almost.
But it's not just the big companies, right? What about the little guys?
Oh, yeah. The open source movement is huge EE. Sharing code, data, tools, trying to level the playing field.
So it's not all centralized power.
Exactly. It's a balancing act. Big companies, grassroots efforts. It's about who controls AI, who benefits, who takes the risks. And that's a conversation we all need to be having.
Not just the tech people.
Nope. It affects everyone. It's about shaping the future.
Not just about cool gadgets, right?
It's got to benefit everyone. It's got to be fair.
Well said. It feels like we've just scratched the surface, though.
We have. AI is deep, complex. It's a lot to take in.
But hopefully this deep dive has given everyone a better sense of
the trends, the challenges, the potential. It's a wild ride, and it's only getting started.
Okay, before we move on, what about the everyday person? How is AI gonna affect them, like, in the near future?
Yeah, it's easy to get lost in the big picture stuff, but, like, what does it mean for me, for our listeners?
That's the key question, right? And I think the first thing we'll see is AI just becoming more integrated into everything.
Like, even more than now.
Oh, yeah. Think about your phone, your recommendations, your virtual assistant.
Wait, so they'll actually be helpful?
More like companions. Less robotic, more intuitive.
It's a little creepy, honestly, but also kind of cool. But you mentioned healthcare before?
Oh, that's where it gets really interesting.
How so? Faster diagnoses, personalized treatments, even new drugs developed by AI.
Wait, so like dot medicine tailored just for me?
That's the promise. Personalized medicine for everyone.
It's amazing. And what about education?
Huge potential there, too. Learning platforms that adapt to you.
So not just the same boring stuff for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Personalized learning paths. Feedback in real time.
So everyone can actually learn at their own pace.
Yeah, and it could help with the skills gap, too. You know, people needing new jobs because of automation.
That's a big worry, right? Robots taking everyone's jobs.
It's a real concern. But AI can also help with retraining, upskilling.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
No, it's about adaptation, figuring out how we fit into this new world.
It's like the rules are changing and we don't even know what the new ones are yet.
Right. And that's why it's so important to think about it. The benefits, the risks, the ethical stuff.
Like Pliny the Prompter, exposing all those vulnerabilities.
Yeah, that was a wake-up call. Showed us that we need to be thinking ahead.
About security, about misuse.
We can't just build the tech and hope for the best. We need safeguards.
So it's a shared responsibility, not just on the developers.
Everyone's got to be involved. Policymakers, researchers, even everyday people.
Okay, big question to wrap up. What should our listeners be thinking about as they go back to their lives, you know, with all this AI stuff swirling around?
Here's the thing. AI, it's not some separate force. It's us. It reflects our choices, our values.
So we're not just passengers.
We're the drivers. We're shaping the future, whether we realize it or not.
Whoa. Okay, that's a lot to process.
So ask yourself, what kind of future do you want? And what are you going to do to make it happen?
Deep stuff. Well, thank you for breaking it all down for us. It's been intense, but amazing.
It's been a pleasure. AI, it's not boring, that's for sure.
To our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time on the Deep Dive.